Today we are looking at a Tek Aspirator. This unit separates light chaff from heavy product with gravity and air. This aspirator has two ways of which the air pressure that comes up through the baffles can be regulated. You've got this slide gate here. It can be adjusted a total of 4 inches. I've got it set at half. You can see it on the 2-inch mark there. So that means that this slide gate is half closed. I'm going to turn on my fan. I'm going to set this at about 3/4. See, the air pressure that comes up through this aspirator is infinitely adjustable. You can tailor it to the perfect amount to accommodate crop shrinkage and the amount of fine dust and dirt that is in the sample that you want to separate and aspirate. So I've let the fan spool up here, and you can see some fine dust here in the mids discharge. You can see some fine dust here in the fines discharge. I've already ran a sample through this to get it tailored right. So now our fan's spooled up. We've got air coming up through the baffles. I'm going to open the first airlock gate to charge the induction chamber. Close that back up. Then I'm going to open the second one and charge the aspiration chamber with our sample. See a tornado around in there. You see, these are your mids. These are your less heavy kernels of buckwheat that could have been eaten out by bugs or worms. I'm going to open the door a little bit more. You can see the fines being deposited up here up top. In order to get a good purity, you might need to run this sample 2, maybe 3 times if it's really dirty. But you can see here on our first pass what this removed. You can see a lot of those white growths in there. You can see some stems. There's that split hull of a soybean. Now I'm going to close the second airlock door, get it ready to take another bite of our sample. Maybe tap that a little bit. Close that up again. And then I'm going to charge the aspiration chamber again. Now it's important to introduce this slow. You can see I kind of drowned the aspiration chamber there. I want to introduce it just like that. See how thick it was in the aspiration chamber? Right there is perfect. You're going to get the best aspiration with that amount of it. See some mids being discharged there. Let that tornado around in there a little bit. And we'll shut our fan off. We can see how we did at the first pass. Open the gate here. Pull this out. You can see it there. Still got some fine particles in there. Say we need to run this one more time. So all we do, dump it right back into the top. See our sample in there. It's noticeably less dirty with small dirt. Turn our fan back on, set it at 3/4 speed. Takes a second for it to spool up. That's back at the right speed. Notice again, our 2 airlock gates are closed. Open the first one, let that sample be deposited in there. Now we'll open the second one, and we'll do it nice and slow this time. Right there. See that? Perfect. Now this is our second pass. You can see some fines trickling into the fine dust catch. These are our mids. Again, those are our medium heavy stuff. See a tornado around in the aspiration chamber. So here's our sample now. You can see there's little to no fine dust in there. Now, as I said before, those white specks there See that right there? That is what's inside of a buckwheat kernel. So we can dump this out on our plate here. Now we'll compare it to our control sample. You can see that compared to this. You got a side by side here. You see all those white fine particles in there. If I can get the camera in focus. See that? This sample here is noticeably much dustier than this sample here. I'm seeing no fine dust in this sample at all, and no light trash. Now these here soybean, you know, that isn't going to be separated out by this machine. You can see here's another soybean, but there is no fine dust in this sample. However, there is a lot of it in this sample. Next sample I'm going to run through here are these soybeans. You can see they've got some pods and some stems in there. They've also got some oats and a lot of fine dust and debris. So, because these are soybeans, I've got my slide gate open all the way, and I'm going to turn my fan on to full speed. Got my airlocks closed. Let the fan spool up. Now I'm only going to put half of this in, so we can use the first half as a control. Compare it. See that there? That's how the sample is before it's aspirated. Now again, because the soybeans are round, we've got our fan set to full speed. I've charged the induction chamber. I've taken a bite out of the sample. And now I'm going to introduce this slowly. See there, soybeans are trickling down and through. See there? Those are all those oats, pods, and stems being discharged out the mid-discharge. You can see some fine dust coming through up here. Fine particles of dust. See, it's taking out all the splits, all the mids. These are your oats, your pods, your stems, more fine dust. Introduce that nice and slow. Okay. Alright, I've taken another bite of the sample. Just give that a few taps. That stuff fall down in there. Close the first airlock gate. We'll open it up and introduce it nice and slow again. See the sample falling through there. Again, here's your mids. Doing an excellent job of separating these out. Got fine dust coming in up top. Alright, shut off our fan here. Open up the latch, pull this out. We can see here our freshly aspirated sample. This is very clean. And you can see here these are chunks of dirt. Obviously those are just as heavy as a soybean, so they're not going to be separated out. This separates out with gravity and air. You can see there's a couple of oats left behind. So what we would need to do now is run this a second time, which is no problem. We're not even at the 2-minute mark. Put our little drawer back in there. Latch it. Okay, you can see we've got our sample up in there. Close the second airlock gate. We'll turn our fan back on full speed. While this is spooling up, you can see the fine dust there. You've got a split right there. Now that's the shell of a soybean. See there, I cracked it. So this is where your fines come out. This is all your mids. It's done an excellent job on the first pass. I'd say that on this second pass, it's going to get 95% of the trash out. So, we'll open up our first gate, charge the induction chamber. See, we got a little left behind up top there. So, now we'll introduce it nice and slow. Introduce it a little slower this time. Don't want to flood it out. You can see there it just deposited 2 more splits. Nice and slow. Oh yeah, throwing out a lot more trash this time. The mids is where the bulk of the trash is going to come out. You can see more being deposited there. Soybeans flowing through the aspiration chamber. Okay, now we'll take the last of the sample here. Give that a few love taps. Close that gate. We'll cycle it through nice and slow again. More splits, more trash coming through up there. Now we've ran the last of the sample through. This is our second pass. Shut that off. And we've got our 2 plates here. We use this as a control. You can see how the sample was before it was ran through the aspirator. Now you can see our aspirated sample here. Very clean. Again, I can guarantee we got 95% of the trash out of there. Look at that. Now these here, that's a small pebble there. These are chunks of dirt. You can see them there. But those are the same weight as a soybean. You can see here our sample is very clean. 95% of the trash, and I'd say the 5% of the trash is that little pebble and that and those little chunks of dirt. Now you can see here our unaspirated sample. Very, very dirty. You can see all those oats left over. See this fine dirt right here. After 2 passes, this is very, very clean, and with no passes you can see it's very, very dirty. So it speaks for itself. Now I've got the mids discharge bag here, so you can see what was out, what was taken out of the mids. All of those pods, stems, trash, just very clean. Just did an excellent job. A lot of these are splits. There's a few whole soybeans here. Just did an excellent job. So all of this was taken out of a sample this big, and of course I didn't have enough room on the plate, so that's what's left over. Just excellent little machine. Does a great job. Did a fine job on buckwheat. Did an excellent job on soybeans.